A sniper is silently staring at a couple walking in the forest. But the next moment, the woman pulls out her gun and kills her husband. The husband was shot by his wife before he could react. The reason why the woman did that was to protect her husband. It turns out that the woman's name is Emma, a top assassin who has carried out more than 300 assassinations all over the world without fail. That's how Emma got tired of her life. So after a mission, she chose to defect from the organization, hid in a remote city, and started a family with David, whom she fell in love with at first sight and gave birth to 2 lovely children. 7 years have passed since then. What was once a baby has grown into a big boy. Just when Emma thought that the happy days would continue, something unexpected happened. It turned out to be their wedding anniversary soon. In order to celebrate their meeting at the hotel, Emma dressed up and came to the hotel early. But David got stuck in the traffic on his way to the hotel. Emma had no choice but to wait patiently, but at that moment, the waiter brought a cocktail to her. Emma turned round and saw that it was from an old man not far away. Soon the old man came to Emma with a glass of wine. He said his name was Bob and that he was passing through on business. Emma responded with the name Alice and said she was a professional manager working for a financial company. They had a nice chat. Soon after, David arrived at the hotel. When he saw his wife chatting with someone else, David pretended to be a stranger and went to talk to her. The 3 of them drank and joked around. After a few glasses of wine, both of them were a bit drunk, so they planned to go back to their rooms to rest. Before leaving, Bob gave them his room number. He said he'd be waiting for them anytime. He turned around and left. The woman went back to the hotel with her husband. She told her husband to wait for her on the bed while she took a shower. But by the time Emma came out of the bathroom, David was already in a deep sleep, so she left a message for David saying she'd be right back to get some pills, only to turn around and go to Bob's room. It turns out that Emma recognized Bob's identity from the beginning, and Bob also knew Emma's background. Both of them belonged to an assassin group called Supreme Security. Bob's mission is to bring Emma back to the organization to be punished. But before that, he has another offer. As long as Emma is willing to pay him 60% of the reward for each mission, then he can consider letting Emma go. So Bob was a traitor all along. Although he nominally worked for Supreme Security, behind his back, he only served organizations that offered a higher price. Emma didn't say anything, but glanced at the countdown on her mobile phone, and then started bargaining with Bob because she has her own plans, and Bob was just so cocky, not knowing that all Emma did was to stall for time. The man wants to negotiate further with the woman, but the woman said she didn't need to because she had just poisoned him in the pub. Bob laughed at Emma's claim that she had poisoned his glass, but the next moment, his expression disappeared. It turned out that Emma had recognized Bob's identity when they were drinking together and had poured the poison into his glass without him realizing, and Bob drank it down without a second thought. Just as the countdown ended, Bob's body reacted violently, and he soon collapsed on the sofa and died. When Emma thought Bob wasn't breathing, she took the phone from him. Then David called. Emma answered it, but unbeknownst to her, Bob suddenly stood up behind her. The next moment, he started pumping out a fury of energy at Emma. Emma kept moving and quickly got up and grabbed Bob's gun. She finally overpowered him. After finishing off Bob, Emma returns to her room and spends a pleasant evening with her husband. The next morning, Emma received a call from her boss. As she had been exposed last night, her boss asked Emma to meet him to discuss the situation. So Emma told her husband that she had to go on a business trip and left him with her luggage. But the day after Emma left, 2 police officers stopped David, who was going home from work, and brought him to the police station. After a brief inquiry, the policewoman took out a file and handed it to David. She asked David if this woman was his wife. He denied it outright. He didn't understand what the woman meant. The woman said that her wife had assumed the dead woman's identity, which means that the current Emma is borrowing the identity of the dead Emma. Then the other policewoman comes forward with information. She told David that the police found his wife at Buenos Aires airport in Argentina last Wednesday, and that 4 hours after she left, the president of a local labor union was found assassinated. When David didn't believe her, the woman produced a photo of his wife's real details. It turns out his wife's name is Anna, and she's wanted for murder in many parts of the world. Now David's not so sure anymore. Back at home, he began to rummage through his wife's things, hoping to find some evidence of her being a killer. After a lot of unremitting efforts, David found a huge wooden box in a storage compartment in the basement. Will the man be able to discover his wife's true identity, and how will he confront his killer wife? I'm 0 Cents Film. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment and subscribe to my channel. See you in the next video.